Hello there, Fernanda Paiva, Hitchhiking Stars here, and bringing you some insights about the lunations. And today we'll be talking about the full moon. So there is a full moon on the 23rd of May at 2 degrees Sagittarius. So that's the first lunation, early degrees of the Gemini season. So there's a shift of energy. There's definitely a very powerful shift, and in a month that's already been a lot lighter compared to the previous month. So April we had the eclipse season, but we also had Mercury retrograde, and we had the full moon Scorpio, which is usually intense. That full moon Scorpio was also in square to Pluto. And so there was a lot of purging that we had to do, and including an exciting new beginning as well, with Jupiter and Uranus meeting in the sky at 21 degrees Taurus. So all of that happened in April. And so May has been a bit of a lighter month, astrologically speaking. And this full moon isn't different. So there's something quite powerful. Remember, there was a new moon between the 7th and the 8th of May as well. That was quite inspiring, and there's a lot about planting seeds and really using that Taurian energy to manifest. Well, this full moon isn't much different. Obviously there's some differences, but it isn't much different because there's some wonderful Taurian placements as well. So let me share with you some of these exciting aspects that I can see as I'm looking at the chart. But before that, let's have a look at the Sabian symbol. So as usual, I love to talk about the Sabian symbol for the specific degree of that full moon. So the full moon will be happening at 2 degrees Sagittarius, and the Sabian symbol for that degree is 2 men playing chess. So it's a simple one. It's just a short phrase as well. So 2 men playing chess. Now, 2 men playing chess, first thing I think about is playing something, first of all, is a game. So there's that sense of playfulness, which I think is very aligned with the polarity of Gemini and Sagittarius. So those are known as the Peter Pans of the zodiac. Those are the signs that are very youthful and jovial and playful as well, and they're very much interested in having fun. So 2 men playing chess. Now there's something about a strategic game, because chess is a game of strategy, is a game that requires reasoning as well. It's not just a game of luck, when you roll the dice and that's that. It requires reasoning and logic in that to succeed in that game. And when I think about the polarity again, the polarity of Gemini and Sagittarius, I think about information. So this full moon could be very big on information, strategic moves, strategic decisions that we might have to make. So there's something about decisions, strategy. We're still healing the Aries side of life, or the Aries flavor of life, if you will, because of that long-lasting Chiron in Aries and North Node in Aries as well, that we've been all experiencing for quite a few months. Now, that's also prominent in the chart of this full moon, and I will tell you why, but definitely Aries is there. So the idea of playing chess can also be connected with making decisions and being decisive. With Aries, decisive, finally making decisions, important decisions, and really taking responsibility and ownership for these decisions. But there are decisions connected to information and to integrating information as well. They're like well-informed decisions. It's not about just impulsively taking a direction or another. There's something about digesting information that this full moon is very strong on. And this full moon is forming a very strong sextile to Pluto. So that's another interesting thing about this full moon, because the previous one that I mentioned earlier in this video, the previous one was in square to Pluto. We had a full moon in Scorpio that was in square to Pluto. So there's a lot of emotional detox, getting in touch with the darker sides of our psyches and etc. A purging of some sort. Now, the full moon in May is sextile to Pluto, which means the sun is in trine to Pluto. So the sun in Gemini is forming a trine to Pluto in Aquarius. So again, for me, there's something about digesting Pluto information, Aquarius, Gemini, and to a certain extent Sagittarius as well. So getting in touch with our truth, with what brings meaning to our lives as well. That's Sagittarius, the search for meaning, the search for truth, the search for the bigger picture as well. So perhaps it could be something about that as well, seeing something from a larger perspective as well, and healing a situation through the information that we might get in touch with as well. But it's a somewhat lighter energy compared to last month's. So not so much an emotional detox, but an understanding that we might be achieving during the culmination of the full moon of May. So another thing that I really need to mention, so let me mention Mars to you, because I talked about Mars a little bit, and making decisions in strategic competition from that imagery of two men playing chess. So Mars during the full moon, so the full moon at 2 degrees Sag, Mars will be at 17 degrees Aries. But the interesting thing about this Mars is that this planet will be sandwiched between Chiron and the North Node as well. So the North Node is at 14 degrees Aries, and Chiron is at 21 degrees Aries. So Mars is right in the middle. It's very, very close to the midpoint that we call in astrology. So the mid path between Chiron and the North Node. Now that's very relevant because, one, Mars is the ruler of both, that Chiron and the North Node as well, is in its own sign, so it's very powerfully placed, but is also right in between the North Node and Chiron. And for me, that's showing the potential for really stepping into our powers, or seeing something very clearly about the healing that we've been doing for the last year or even more with Chiron in Aries and the North Node as well. It's all about taking responsibility for what we want, standing by what we want, being courageous to state our desires, to say no and set boundaries as well. So there's a lot of lessons that we're having in connection to Aries. And Mars being in the midpoint of these lessons, there's something important that might be happening during this full moon, or at the culmination of this full moon, that will be showing us, or will be calling us to be assertive with, to be competitive in a healthy way. All right, I'm not talking about unhealthy competition, but we're healing our ability to compete. We're healing our ability to express the warrior within us and to take initiative as well. We're healing our ability to take initiative, to take charge, to initiate things and not really care so much about what other people think. To let go of the people-pleasing shadows of the South Node in Libra. So that Mars is very, very relevant, especially by being placed in between these two very, very collectively important astrological points here. Now, the last thing that I wanted to mention as well, that's very, very exciting about this full moon as well, is planet Venus. So we've got Venus at 29 degrees Taurus and Jupiter at 29 degrees Taurus as well. So the signature of this full moon is a very lucky one. And in traditional astrology, this would be considered very lucky because Jupiter and Venus were considered the great benefics of astrology. So they have a very powerful positive association to their symbolism and their meanings. Now, I'm not saying this to go all sort of two-dimensional here and say some things are good, some things are bad, but life isn't just made of challenges. And sometimes we have those challenging full moons, like the previous one we had with Pluto in square to the moon in Scorpio, and we have to purge and do shadow work. But sometimes we have these very blessed configurations, like this Venus and Jupiter at 29 degrees Taurus. And this is a powerful energy for getting in touch and healing self-worth, love relationships, partnerships, money mindsets, money situation as well. If you can't charge for your services because you don't feel you're worthy, this is a wonderful, wonderful full moon to set intentions to do healing work around any Venusian issue that you might have, any issue around the archetype of Venus. So if you don't feel you're pretty enough or you're beautiful enough, there isn't enough self-acceptance, or perhaps you struggle enjoying your life, enjoying the good things of life, enjoying a good meal or massages or all of those Taurian very sensual things as well. So this is a wonderful full moon to use this big release of energy to work on that, to heal that, to bring more of that abundance into your life as well. Jupiter is the ruler of the full moon in Sagittarius, so that Jupiter conjunction Venus is very powerful. It's really, really prominent in this full moon. And I couldn't help but be very curious and want to look at the Sabian symbol for this Venus Jupiter in Taurus, because they're so close together in this full moon, and it's so like I can't help, it just draws my attention immediately when I see the chart. So I wanted to see the Sabian symbol for this degree as well. And here is the imagery: a peacock parading its splendor on the terrace of an old castle. Now, what an interesting image, first and foremost. So we've got the old castle, but we also have the splendor of the peacock. And I don't know if you've seen a peacock in real life, but they are amazing creatures, and it's such a beautiful and creature with the feathers and the colors and everything, and the size of it as well. So 3 words that are really encapsulated in this image is beauty, nature, and wealth. So the peacock representing nature, and the splendor that this peacock is parading here is the beauty, and the old castle is the wealth, right? The tradition and the wealth. These are key words that we can focus and work with during this full moon, that we can really heal and that we can really bring into our lives more. Do not let this pass you by. Use this energy, bring it into your life. Find out where is 29 degrees Taurus in your chart. It's a wonderful, wonderful transit, and it will be very marked by the full moon. So it will be like even stronger as an astrological transit, because the moon will amplify it. Now, the last thing here is that on top of the conjunction between Venus and Jupiter at the very last degree of Taurus, again, that makes them very, very powerful as well for being at 29 degrees, is a sextile to Neptune. So there is an exact sextile between these two to Neptune in Pisces. So very inspiring, very beautiful, very healing as well, forgiving, and so on. So this is a beautiful full moon. I really hope that you make the most of it, that you really bring this energy into your life in the best way possible, and that you can weave into your personal meanings as well and make it very relevant to you as an individual. and that you achieve a lot of healing and beautiful things. And I'm wishing you a wonderful, wonderful full moon in Sagittarius, and we'll be talking soon.